All right, welcome back. Episode 5 of the Refractor Rants podcast, a podcast about all things sports cards. I'm one of your hosts, Tommy, aka TV Sports Cards, and I'm here with my good friend and co-host Max, also known as Handsome Max. Max, how you doing?
I'm doing great. That handsome moniker may be used subjectively, but I live, laugh, love sports cards. I'm doing cards. I am a card.
Speaking of cards, Max, I'm going to start this episode on my high horse. The high horse I want to hop on is in regards to Topps marketing. It's something that me and you often are discussing. It's something that was top of mind when Fanatics purchased Topps, which I think was during the time we were doing this podcast that Fanatics got Topps?
Yeah,
I
it
don't
was
remember.
at or around like mid 2022, give or take.
Damn,
I
we've been
think
doing this a
May
long
or
time.
June.
But anyway, in perspective of that, we're often talking about how Michael Rubin, who we'll get to later, is going to try to 10x the hobby. And I think that, a lot of what we were discussing is the fact that, there's a lot of low hanging fruit out there on the marketing world for Topps to, take advantage of, especially on social media. Recently, it's come out that friend of the program, maybe, Ben Haynes, is taking over, formerly known as Eric Whiteback, is taking over the Topps Twitter account. Potentially other social media accounts. Probably he's just like the social media manager, probably just, delegating shit to interns. But, there's been a lot of backlash on Twitter specifically about this because it's obvious that he's taking it over just because of the way that the tweets are being written from Topps. It's something that has been getting a lot of shade from Topps for this for some reason. I will challenge those people to go back into Topps's Twitter history and just check out how lame of a social media account that Topps has been managing for the last decade plus. Just really bad efforts by them. Even on the marketing efforts with like Flagship in the last couple of years with like the J-Rod show last year, that whole weird thing where like they put out this like weird Bob Ross inspired Julio Rodriguez ad for Top Series 1 that was just bizarre in retrospect. Any ad I've seen for Topps since Fanatics took over has been lackluster to say the least. I know they've been running some sort of Bowman ad that's like collect the future, and it's like a ad that's straight out of 2008. And then they've kind of just like flopped. The J-Rod show was screaming like they hired someone who was making ads for Topps maybe during the Junk Wax era or something. Really, none of their marketing efforts I think have really been hitting. So, you know what? The fact that Topps or Fanatics hired a guy who's a really good professional marketer to run their social media accounts, in my opinion, a good move. Max, you think that's a hot take?
I feel like also relevant to this is that he was Goldin's social media guy, and then he left to do his work on his own, and then became Topps's social media guy. I think it's a little bit funny. I don't know if irony is the right device that Mr. Eric Whiteback, under the pseudonym Eric Whiteback, was getting chastised a lot for being side and allegiant towards Fanatics when he has in his bio Fanatics partner. It's like, yes, you have to have a little bit of respect for the partnership that you are partnered with. And I think, of course, truthful and indecisiveness in journalism or tweeting or the same thing is important. And I try to champion this a lot, both how I reflect and compose myself, and having and maintaining good faith, both with your audience, with your followers, with people who you just engage with on a daily basis, is integral to none, both in social media and marketing success and in just being a good human being. But it's a little bit funny in that Goldin's marketing really took a different turn after Mr. Whiteback left, and now the collectibles guru is taking some flack now that he left. It seems quite interesting threads from that account. But I think, okay, now it's, someone who's been chastised for being allegiant to a certain partnership is now directly working with that partner. I don't see what's wrong with that. I think Topps's Twitter account was a dumpster fire and completely tone deaf. And now there's more interesting stories, except now it's the same composer of these stories, except instead of the collectibles guru, it's under Topps. And instead of, viewing it from the scope, Ben's mission of getting more people to collectibles and exposing to collectibles, of course, without having his own personal gain from that, and that's okay. It's not working pro bono. The first mindset is getting people more exposed, more to collectibles, and now it's getting people more exposed to Topps. I think that helps and is a net positive. But that being said, hey, good hire, Tops. That's a pro, that's a plus. But I think there's something else that's a negative that Fanatics has done recently too.
Yeah, and before we get to that, I do want to clarify here. We should absolutely be critical of what Tops is posting. Like if there's errors or shit, let's call them out. Let's hold their company accountable. But in general, I often feel like people in the hobby think that Tops specifically, not even talking about Fanatics as a larger company, but like Tops should be basically operating as some sort of like non-profit where they should not be trying to make more money. And I saw people hating on the fucking Eclipse Tops Now card. Like, do these people not understand that the most printed Tops Now card, I think, of all time, other than maybe the Wander call up, is the fucking Bernie Sanders mittens card? Like,
I think did the Wemby surpass that? The
I
Wemby
mean,
draft.
maybe, but
Maybe
like
I think
that
I
card,
honestly I think it might have been. I'm just saying that not as a stat correction, but just out of like a crazy, just that being a crazy stat. I think it's mid after excluding Wemby because I don't even know the number. I think that cracked 100K. It was Bernie Sanders mittens, which was open for a week and not 24 hours, and then I think Fauci first pitch I think is directly below Wander debut,
yeah,
which is in the 20,000s. So yes,
yeah.
point being, it's the non-political events that uh, soars and make these cards desirable, and that's what people want. Max living
I
under
mean,
a
you can,
rock moment. I didn't know of the solar. I believe it was a solar eclipse, right?
bro. Yeah,
As
yeah.
opposed to a lunar eclipse. I'm sorry, I don't know my astrology or my astronomy well. Yeah, no, it was in fact a solar eclipse rather than a lunar eclipse. Apparently, Tom's giving me the side eye for that. Yeah, I found out about that the day of, and I was too busy shipping cards to go outside. I didn't know the big hoopla about it until after it happened.
And to be fair, I did call Max yesterday and I told him that he should have been touching grass because you can't miss the eclipse. But all right, I did
We
say that
love
you
the
can't
Earth.
credit.
This is Earth love speech on this podcast. Earth
It
Day
is
is coming
Earth
up
Month.
soon.
It's
Earth
Earth
Month.
Month. Max makes fun of me because for my job, I'm super busy during Earth Day and the week surrounding it, and that you get a kick out of that because I might be like the only job where that's the case.
Yeah, my birthday is in August. I'm going to be busy the whole month.
All right. Well, I did say that you can't criticize a company for wanting to make more money. I think it's sometimes fair to do that, just to clarify. But in this instance, good for Tops for making an actually smart marketing hire. I respect it. Just wanted to
Yeah,
clarify that. Now let's go into something else, Max, that I know we've been talking about. I do also want to touch on the Goldin eBay rumors that are floating around,
I
but
wasn't
we
even
can
thinking
touch on
about
that
that.
maybe at the end. But we did want to talk about who was it? Riley Green today slid into home and his pants fell apart.
Yeah, Riley Green of the Detroit Tigers, outfielder, not a sports analysis podcast, slid in the home, and there's a clip of him in the dugout, and his entire seam, I want to say from like his quad down to his calf, just like burst, just popped up. And Fanatics has received a lot of word of the day chastising for their performance as a company, and I think I know Michael Rubin, the CEO, had an interview. Tommy, I don't know if you read it. I think it was on The Athletic. I'm not sure about how Rubin essentially tries to cut as many corners as possible and try to maximize dollar margin. Where Michael Rubin tries to cut every possible corner for the sake for his business to grow, which is great as from a business growth standpoint. But when you're tone deaf to your audience, and at the very least your rather vocal audience, which is entirely dependent on fandom, both for the sports, I mean, I guess literally for sports cars and the sports themselves, you have these laughably composed Fanatics jerseys that are use way cheaper material and truncate the lettering. And again, I'm not a jersey head. I don't know my jersey numbers, but this is a big critic of what Fanatics is doing. And just seeing their acquisitions and their direct partnership with MLB seem to be combusting in year one or year two. Obviously, who knows the longevity of their deal with MLB, but their first step is a very bad misstep with how poor these jerseys are condition wise, that they're combusting when the players themselves are doing rudimentary baseball actions. It is not a good look. And I don't like how this pun intended parallels to sports cards and maybe how Fanatics' enthusiasms taking care of our market and our demographic can affect us. If that's how little we care about sports jerseys.
First of all, I totally agree with you on all fronts here. I mean, just to add to it, the fact that they can't even get like the City Connect MLB jerseys to these teams in time, it's like those are like the hottest selling jerseys in the game. Like you would think that that would be in line with business practices to have teams playing in the jerseys you want to sell. And I can't wait. Max, maybe this is a Leaf product, but Leaf should buy all like ruined Fanatics baseball jerseys, like buy the Riley Green pants, pay whatever you need to, put together like the funniest relics. Leaf has the opportunity to do the funniest thing possible here, Max, which is just buy up all these, like any jersey that has like a famous malfunction this season, and just make like the best relic set of all time.
I mean, game use stuff is usually expensive, but I don't know how much a Riley Green pant costs, one singular pant of Riley Green. But I think that would be a very fun jab, and I would buy that card for
And
PC
you
because I'm a
and
collector.
because Max, yeah, don't ever doubt that Max Cards Max Collector Edition.
Yeah, I put
Uh,
in quick aside, I put an orange sapphire out of 25 Giovanni Urshela into my binder today. Shout out certified cards for the gift from the pull of his sapphire box, and that is updated and in the binder.
Shout out Certified Max for that. That's a great guy move. But to close the loop, Max, on the Fanatics thing, I can't wait for the Tops Now card. If Fanatics ever does sell Tops, Tops makes an Icarus card with Michael Rubin's face on Icarus flying too close to the sun. I feel like that's maybe an apt analogy here after my kind of botch of my critique at the beginning. But at least here, let's close on good news. I like to go good news as well, Max. But they did, but they are able to obtain some relics. It seems like they got a ball from Yamamoto. This ball from his first win. That's like a cool Tops Now thing. Another thing on balls, just before we do a hard pivot. This whole Shohei Ohtani thing, where like this woman caught his first Dodgers home run ball, and everyone's saying that ball would have been worth $100,000. Like, are you kidding me? Do you think that ball would have been worth $100,000, Max?
I think 100K is a stretch, but it probably was worth like 10 to 20 to the right person. I mean, Aaron Judge, again, this is Aaron Judge. Aaron Judge's 62nd home run ball had offers of 200K on release, and I think ended at 100. I could definitely see first home run as a Dodger being worth 10 to 25, but it really just highlights. Why are you disagreeing with that number, Tommy?
Yeah, dude.
With the
Why
10
is
to
that
25?
cool? Wwhy is that cool?
I
Aaron
mean,
Judge's 62nd home run ball is like historically sick,
yeah, and
in
I'm
my
saying
opinion.
this is worth like 10 to 20% of that.
I think even it got to be less than that, in my opinion. Way
No,
less.
I don't know. I mean, I'd buy it for 5K.
All right. Well, all right. Max is setting the floor at
I don't give a shit
5K.
about balls. I'd buy it for 5K. Probably.
All
I mean,
right. 10K.
I
All
mean,
right.
that just sounds like a cheap number, but I'm saying there are people that like hardcore collect game used balls, especially home run balls. I mean, Otani's an all-time great from a talent standpoint, maybe the greatest player ever. That's from a raw talent standpoint. We'll see if his run with the Dodgers is generational. If it is, then that's only even more significant. But I'm saying, hey, even if it's only worth 10 to 25K, I don't know. I'm not a game use ball. I'm a really expert. And I do think 100K is a stretch. It highlights the greater issue that MLB and whoever authenticates the baseballs puts a figurative gun to your head saying, we will make this ball worthless if you don't accept the $2,000 in gear. I mean, I think she got a few signed hats and balls, a few signed hats, and I don't think she got a bat. Tommy, do you know?
I don't know about the
She
specifics.
got
I
some
do know.
autograph.
Yeah, I do know that Shohei said in an interview afterwards that he had met her, and which he didn't, which is shady. I mean, Shohei just
Yeah,
hologram.
no. This is a journalism podcast. It's was originally an article on the Athletic that said that he said that, but that was really just misinterpreting the translator because of how the implied pronoun is used in Japanese. So like he kind of didn't say that. More
All
like
right,
he spoke.
I was Icarus in that moment.
Yeah,
I thought I knew ball super hard. I guess I don't. My
that
apologies.
gets fucked by me.
um, I was gonna say, speaking of getting fucked, but I don't think that's the transition that we need.
Yeah, that is.
Um,
See, that's an example. That's not the proper translation.
Max,
June
have
is
you
2
been
months
reading?
away.
Speaking of journalism, have you been reading about this eBay acquisition of Goldin Auctions?
I've heard it before you mentioned it in this podcast. It's intriguing. I heard discussion about the Goldin Vault and what that means for it. From my understanding, the Goldin Vault was really the collector's vault, but I genuinely don't know who owns the vault itself. Goldin seems to be failing kind of as a company. I think it's funny, and I'm not trying to show any bias given that I do sell with this company often. But PWCC being banned from eBay about like 2, 3 years ago, and then running weekly auctions on their own site was such a massive foresight move by PWCC that I don't know if they like envisioned it being this successful in the long term. But like that is now like the gateway high the pun not intended, high eye appeal, high traffic drawing platform to where if you have a decently marquee card, you send it to PWCC for auction, you get for generally serious buyers. They normalized the true weekly auction and making it distinct from eBay. And Goldin tries to copycat it, a year and a half later, and it just seems like a waste of time and a waste of money and a waste of percentages. I don't know how the net worths of auction houses work, but I can imagine that Collectors Universe was not satisfied with their purchase of Goldin and then had to move on. And I guess my final note on it, Tommy, before you get some response time, is that my quote tweet at the time when I saw that was, one incompetent company is acquiring a second incompetent company. And I think that perfectly sums up our situation here. And I don't think an eBay acquiring anything helps us because we have the Michael Rubin type generate the most maximum dollar without respecting that we're speaking with human beings on a selling standpoint at any given point.
Do you know anyone who's selling on like Fanatics Live? Sorry for the quick sidetrack here. Just got me
To my
thinking.
knowledge, it's predominantly breakers and a whatnot platform. So I don't know
Uh,
any small time users.
yeah. Well, I do, PWCC, they kind of got forced into it, and I love that their fuck you to eBay ended up really paying off big time. I do think that there was like a pretty clear need in the hobby, especially in 2021, for like a reliably great weekly auction site for cards between like, $100 to like $10,000. I don't think Goldin is like that. I don't think any of the high end auction sites, any of the other high end sites or auctions houses could have really done that. And
Mhm.
props to PWCC for actually executing and doing it. I do see PWC, they've had their issues obviously over the years, but they do seem to like actually be able to do shit, which I respect compared to some of the like, I don't know, Beckett out there. Like, what are they up to? But let's TBD on this from me. I don't have a ton of thoughts right now. But I do love the idea of PSA or collector selling a company to eBay. That seems sus to me. Is that sus to you, Max?
They acquired TCG Player. I remember about a year and change ago. I don't really understand or know the ramifications of it. I don't know if TCG has relatively changed its infrastructure. Really, the only time we ever hear about eBay in our actual space is during the national. They have a booth. It's the first time you're going to talk to someone that works from eBay that speaks English because every other phone call I get, it's English as a second or third language. And that, from a customer service standpoint, when you're at foreign call centers, just makes it entirely infuriating. And again, I'm not trying to speak with bias. I'm speaking that this is a company that largely does not care about their storefronts unless they have a direct rep. And I don't think they care about anyone in in this space either. And ever I see someone have an issue with eBay and tag eBay, they get a robot on their Twitter customer support, and their issue does not get resolved. So I can't. I mean, really, the only difference is that it just seems like another Michael Rubining of them trying to maximize the dollar, and that's okay. It's a business; their job is to make money. But as a consumer, I'm not allowed to. I'm allowed to not love it, and I'm allowed to take my business elsewhere when it doesn't make sense for me to either. So I don't think I just I don't understand the picture. If this is eBay's premier collectibles auction house, how does that help me? How does that make them a consumer? I'm already a little bit loyal to one company because I mean my stuff sends strongly, and in my opinion, their stuff sells better than sending it to Goldin. But even from a third party perspective, I don't understand how this benefits the consumer, and either as the consumer is buying from Goldin, because I feel like if anything, it's just going to be watered. The customer service is going to be watered down even more, or maybe they don't re-infrastructure it. I don't know, and I don't know how this benefits the seller because a company that's notorious for trying to pressure you to sign a contract and then not doing anything about it once you have inquiries after your contract is signed, and then letting something flop at auction. I don't know how a company with that reputation being acquired by a larger company that does not care about customer service is beneficial to the hobby.
It is beneficial to season 2 of the Golden Touch, though, Max, and you're forgetting about that very important plot line here.
What, the eBay touch doesn't roll off the tongue well? I've heard that joke used before.
Oh, well, I wasn't really, yeah. But, you know, you
No, but
gotta
I
know
know.
that the
Yeah,
you
I
know.
know there's plot developments, but I'm not. I mean, maybe it's a rebrand. Maybe it's just a PSA acquiring SGC. I think Nat's comment. I believe Nat tweeted this. That Nat Turner, the president of PSA. My apologies for the mistitling. If we were mistitled, Nat Turner.
I'm
But
pretty sure he's czar of PSA.
okay, I didn't know he was Russian. But with that in mind, I believe Nat Turner's comment was that SGC is going to stay pretty much entirely how it is as it stands, except they're going to add a set registry, which I think is pretty dank. And I think that's been one of the things that separated PSA and made it grow from the pack for vintage collectors and even your modern LeBron and Jordan collectors that are just set registry hounds. And I think that's an enhancement for SGC. But hey, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. I don't run companies, man. I don't work in venture capital. I don't do private equity. It'd be dank. You know, Goldman Sachs want to hire, I'm here. BlackRock, you want to hire, I'm here. But like, I don't work in this field, so I can't say what one company acquiring and the other company will do. But as a collector and as a greedy flipper, it makes me all the more intrigued as to what the possibilities can be.
That's a great way of closing out this segment, I think, Max, is saying, yeah, do we have the most educated opinions here? Maybe not, but we do know the hobby pretty well.
And I
We
am
think
for
about
hire.
cards all day. Yeah, and Max is for hire. That is also a great emphasis here, and a common theme of this podcast.
Yeah, the Mint conference, industry conference, is actually happening right now on this podcast. Tommy, did you follow My Slabs' crowdsourcing? Because this was more public.
No, I did not. I did not.
Yeah, and this is entirely with me not speaking to a former employee of My Slabs too, so we can highlight this. But My Slabs entered and I guess closed their funding phase on Republic.com. I have no idea what Republic.com is, just full disclosure. Probably like Patreon, but for businesses. They raised, I don't know in how long of a period, but their fundraising closed on March 29th. They raised $56,702 across 106 individual investors. Their funding goal was 1.24 million. That sounds like a flop. Their minimum goal needed before the deadline was 50K. A minimum for what? I don't know. I don't use Republic. And I see there's lots of different tiers for investing different levels, and that not a single individual investor raised more than 10K. I remember hearing the rumors that like My Slabs is going to try to eventually like transition to becoming like My Stuff, and then just being a general easy to use individual item selling site. But yeah, that was a massive flop of I mean, from my understanding, you know, your goal is a mil raise and you raise 50,000. That's 5%. That's not good. That's a flop, in my opinion. I think that's safe to say. And even like, I don't even use My Slabs anymore. I know they're doing, or they had integration with Mascot, which is a software used to cross list cards on multiple platforms. And now they're no longer partnered with them. I've been very critical of Matt from My Slabs, saying ever since they used their wholesale API, you have eBay storefronts that just post their inventory, which is fine, which is cool. But this is a website that largely was reliant on its strong community user base of just being sole individuals buying and selling cards. And when you have the same, I don't know, Ronald Acuna Jr. third year PSA 9 for $11.67, taking up your entire homepage, because your entire homepage is sort by newest, and sort by newest is the only thing that's ever been worth looking at My Slabs, and it's covered by the same junky card posted 11 straight times. And that makes it so I don't even want to scroll on your website. It makes me say, like, what in the world is the point of me scrolling on your website? It's a waste of time. And then furthermore, I mean, part of the hitch is My Slabs is that it's reduced fees. If every single slab is copying the eBay fee, which in most cases, again, maybe I'm crazy, I kept My Slabs price lower than my eBay price so that they would net the same. So that, hey, if you found it on My Slabs, I'm forwarding that to the buyer because I don't really care. I have my idealized net in mind. The website's a mess. I can't imagine using it as a consumer. I can't imagine it being beneficial as a consumer. And now it's like I don't even bother doing it because it just seems like a waste of time. It's like I'm looking here and I just see like several 2002 Topps Chrome Zone Buster Kobe Bryants, and just cards that I can't name, cards that are like 5 straight at the same time with above comp pricing. What in the world? What, the site was such a good thing back in 2021 to 2022, and it's just completely flopped. And the lack of money being invested in it is signifying that.
Well, I've never used my slabs, so I'll take your word for it. But what you?
Yeah, no, this is, yeah, we'll just say this is my slabs is bad on this one.
As they could say, this isn't my bad.
Yeah.
Not my slab. My slab, my bad. That's the title for that. My slab, my bad. It's like did you ever watch Parks and Rec?
Criticalness of the industry, starring Cards Max and television sports cards.
On NBC Sports.
Yes.
Max, I think we got to end this. We got to start talking about what we bought. I think this is the hard pivot to what did we buy this week?
Yeah, there you go. That's my thought on every company in this industry that I'm not biased to, and how, I mean, truthfully, it's not just being, pragmatist or a contrarian just for the sake of it. I mean, this is how I think some of these companies can grow, why these acquisitions do matter, because they do affect us. I mean, it was easy to say in 2022 that, hey, Fanatics acquiring Topps, that's happening, but how does that affect us? Now we're seeing in first time how it's affecting us. It's a company that's motivated to make more money, which should be Topps when they're not owned by Fanatics, but I digress. And yeah, last topic before I get into eBay buys, which is a little bit impromptu, but Flawless NBA released this week, 6 set. Hype is crazy on it. It took me like a week to realize why Chet Holmgren does not have RPAs in it, because he did not play his rookie season. And we're in a very interesting time in this, for lack of a better word, market, just because I think we were in such like a dismal chapter in Q4. And then the entire Tinder Flames dating app pun, not inspired, was bumbling around. The market's buzzing. We were on a hinge before, but now NFL Prism took things to the next level. People were always talking about CJ Stroud, Anthony Richardson, and Will Levis of all people. Then that started dying down a little bit. I can't find any more NFL Prism Raw. I made my killing. I made my okay killing with it. I didn't make a killing. I did my okay with it, and then moved on. NBA Prism was moderately hot to begin March, and now I think all the big cards have already been hit, and like half of it is being ripped overseas anyway. So I don't think it particularly matters. And I think with appropriate timing, Flawless is here. The only reason Flawless is relevant is because everything is game used, and that itself is sick. There's some like Bill Russell 1-of-1 patches. I own a Miles Turner one. It's pretty sick. When they put the Bill Russell patch and then they take it off. That's how patches work, something like that. But the Bill Russell patch is cool. Game used cards are cool. Championship tags are cool. And really, it's made me think a lot about like what is the next set. Like, obviously, I'm not incompetent. I can look at a calendar. I see Immaculate NFL is there, which is interesting because now we're getting into CJ Stroud player warning game use stuff without CJ Stroud autographs. And now we're really going to start seeing the ramifications of these Fanatics exclusive signed athletes having patches. And like, I mean, patches actually mean something and not have autographs. But like with that in mind, it's just making me very think forward, both inspired by it as a flipper, but interested as a consumer as well. Okay, we have flaws. We're still ending the Paolo Banchero class. We may just be about to start the 2023 class with Wemby and others in terms of their higher end product now that Prism's out, and putting the NT and eventually Flawless for NFL. It really just makes me think, okay, NBA Prism is NBA Flawless is here. This is carrying the flame of what NFL and NBA Prism had. What is after this relatively short printed, breaker friendly, predominantly ripped overseas product? It's just been something that I've been thinking about what the next thing people will hinge onto.
Oh, sick! I'm gonna go rip a hanger box of Flawless at my Walgreens later today.
Yeah, and if you don't, you're a brokey.
Dude, fuck flawless. Fuck those. I don't give a fuck. What do you
No,
think
well, no.
Wemby's most expensive card is
No,
going
no,
to
no,
be?
no, no, not fuck flawless. The only flawless fucking matters is because it's game used, which is I hate to say is something that we actually like need. Like if you want to say fuck NT or fuck immaculate, hey, go for it. That's all you like. There were like you're seeing very strong prices for these like vertical patches because it's the only Paolo RPA that's actually game worn that exists. It's like these championship tags, they're dank because they was from an actual fucking player worn jersey. Sorry, excuse me, game used jersey. The player worn jersey doesn't mean shit. And I'm swearing a lot because I think as I mean, I'm on my little cute little basketball and buying some more game used basketball whatever from a few decades earlier. I'm messing with some Carmelo Anthony exquisites and stuff, which are cool in hand. Is that none of this shit is game used anymore? Which I know I'm like speaking to the masses, and I like there's a conversation that like some old man has every month, and it's man talking to the cloud. But like this is the one actual game used product, and I'm not saying I can like afford these from a collecting standpoint, but like I respect that they exist. And that's why it's getting the hype it deserves. Yeah, fuck NT. It's all player worn. I respect the fuck NT. I will defend flawless and then take her out on a date afterwards.
All right, you changed my mind, Max. I was ignorant. Now I'm educated.
Educated.
I'm in. I'm in
If
on
these are
flawless.
manufactured Bill Russell patches, then with all respect to the late Bill Russell, I do not care. But these are game worn Bill Russell patches that were respecting Mr. Bill Russell, and therefore I respect the card.
All right, I respect that. I really do respect the Bill Russell patches. That's super sick. All right, I'm in
Bill
on it.
Russell respecters.
I might grab 2 hangers from Walgreens on my way home from work tomorrow. 2 hangers of flawless.
Can we do a box war?
Oh, I wish I had a box. I would love to
Oh
rip
no!
a pack right
Speaking
now.
of box war, and yeah, I know we'll talk about eBay buys. We have all night to talk about eBay buys. Dude, I saw former guest of the podcast, Mr. Jason Dardick, rip another case of WNBA, and it makes me so hyped for Caitlin Clark here, even as like just a fan of. And again, I've never been a fan of women's sports ever, and I'm not even adhering to the argument that the men play the sport better. That's why the men are the highest level competition. Or again, I'm abbreviating what the argument is. And it's like, okay, I get that. Serena Williams said herself that like she cannot beat like a man on the top 100 best tennis players in the world. Like I understand. Why are you shaking your head? Serena said
I'm
that.
just like, are you gonna start naming like the best woman athlete in every sport? Like she could beat this guy. I was just gonna start shaking my head if you said
No, I'm
Serena.
saying no. Serena's killing it, but like I'm saying, I
Yeah.
empathize with the argument, saying, "Oh, okay, this isn't the highest level of athleticism." Hey, women are killing it.
Mm-hmm.
That's not any remark on them. They're killing it right now. But my point is, I think I watched 2 or 3 games of March Madness. All of them were women's games. The storyline were great. I think it's interesting that I think like Paige Buckers, who I had no idea existed like a month ago.
I think it's Beckers. I think it's Paige
It's Beckers.
Beckers.
I keep messing the pronunciation. My apologies. Can't pronounce it now. Beckers, because it starts with a U. That's why it confuses me. It starts with a U, but it's not. I knew it wasn't Bukers. But anyway, Beckers, Clark, that Cameron Brink on Stanford. I don't know. I genuinely don't know the person on South Carolina, but I know it's like the top like 5 of like the 2022 class are all like the stars of this tournament. And it's like, okay, UConn wasn't supposed to be in the Final Four, and Clark's going back to the championship game again and lose them. We had the Angel Reese matchup, and Fallujah's a rapper. That's fucking dank. Fallujah's a rapper and a future WNBA superstar. I'm for that. She kills it at basketball. But it has me excited for WNBA Prism. The reference of box warring made me think of that just because I box warred Mr. Certified Cards and I won. So I gave him my love on that. But my opinion is I can't wait for next wave of WNBA Prism. I think at the end of the day, I think people like collecting star powers. These women that forefront of this tournament were absolutely deserving of every bit of that star power aligned to them, and that was gravitated towards them. And like it has made me grown into the sport and has made me want to rip their cards. I think that's part of the fun of ripping. It's like you don't care. I mean, really, if you're like a mathematician or like a quantum physics genius like me, then you care about the spreadsheet math and trying to break. And that's a different type of game which is a very fun game to play of like trying to find the product that lets you profit on it. last sentence, chasing the player, hitting the star player, I think is the fun of wax. And now we have more fun players to chase in wax.
Dude, that was like you took me on so many paths there. I felt like we took like 4 left turns, a few rights, but overall good monologue there, Max. I appreciate it.
I'm pro women's sports.
Yeah, that's the moral of the story here. I'm glad
Yeah.
that we're clarifying. I did see Jason's tweet about how his goal was to rip 100 cases of WNBA Prism this year, and I gotta say, like, I love Jason. I love ripping wax. I can't imagine ripping 100 cases of any single product. That is insane. So I immediately started cracking up when I read that today.
I
But
mean,
Max,
did you read that he's already reached 60?
yeah, insane.
I couldn't imagine reaching
Absolutely.
60.
He gets like some sort of mad collector award for that. I have a lot of respect. But Max, my
And he's
question for
rich.
you, my question
Rich
for
in the
you
NBA.
is Caitlin Clark's first Bowman the first iconic Bowman U card?
That's a good question. Because the Pickett, Stroud, Sam Hartman year, which of course some of those names may be more important than others, like that year was pretty lackluster. I think this Caleb Williams, Drakey May year may be pretty well, and I don't think that's with the bias of them still being in the prospecting phase and those being their only cards. I think more and more people, not intended, are prospecting them in order to try and like for the financial gain. And I think that's the root core that baseball collectors have always had fun with Bowman, and it's now directly translating to other sports. In terms of iconicness, so this isn't a knock on the WNBA. This is just from a media and brand awareness. Caitlin Clark may be most known for being in a University of Iowa uniform for her entire career, and that's okay. And I think when we're talking about iconicism and we're talking about the plays that we see during the tournament and the crazy 3-point shots and all the lore that goes into that, I think that's mostly going to be baked into her wearing a University of Iowa uniform. And it's really a worst case scenario if Caleb Williams is most known for being in a USC uniform than his professional NFL team. And same thing with Drake May and UNC. If he's known for UNC and not for his NFL team, then something went wrong. But I don't think that's going to be the case with Caitlin Clark. I don't think Wemby's first Bowman U is going to be that iconic, given that he had like 3 or 4 products in rapid succession that were, and Topps is milking this partnership as much as they can. But they're not, or at the very least, I don't think, like, I want to say Caitlin made a name for, sorry, Tommy, I'm yapping, whatever.
No, yeah, this is sports card yapping. People
Okay,
forget
so
sports
so
card
okay,
yapping.
okay, good. It's good when I talk about this, not when I talk about the March Madness tournament. It's cool, whatever. My bad, my bad. But I think if we're thinking like real, like truthfully, like Clark started making her name for herself in 2023, last year. And I remember I was with you, Tommy, for the Chicago Spectacular. Why are you shaking your head? No,
Dude, because you know how I found out about Caitlin Clark in like 2021?
because you just know ball.
No, because Hive Cards was tweeting about it all the time. He tweeted about Caitlin Clark every day for like a month in 2021, and I was like, "Damn, she's really good." And then I got her SI Kids card, which is now worth like it sold for $100 the night of the turn. No way it's worth that, but it sold for 100
No,
bucks.
that's pretty sick. I actually didn't know
Yeah,
that. But okay, sure. I'll attribute you and Gaby as diehards, like respectfully. And I mean that with respect. Me, I'm just a filthy casual. I last year I was not able to name before like the storylines. I wasn't able to. Can name like 3 players from this year's tournament in the men's. I don't even think that. I can name more in the women's tournament. But like point being, I said this even to you last year, saying, "Oh, this women's tournament is way more interesting than the men's tournament, when like UConn just won." And it's like, okay, cool. And I think that's when Clark really started to get like a name for herself. And you have like, she probably had like 100,000 followers or maybe more then, and now she has like over 1 million. And Angel Reese is like 2 million on Instagram. I know that's the favorite comparison for like soccer players shitting on American sports, saying that the hobby is going to be bigger because I don't know, Messi has like 1 billion followers or something like that, essentially 1 billion, and Mike Trout has like 1 or something like that. But I mean, truly, it's a testament to like how their stardom has grown from a national presence. Ms. Reese and Ms. Clark. Point being, Clark started making her name for herself last year. I don't think Topps saw the foresight of this tournament and saw the exponential growth of that story and those stories perpetuating and growing. Sure, Clark had a first Bowman. Also, I think relevantly, um, the Bowman U basketball first year was a massive flop with the Shaden Sharp. Like that, I Topps might have lost money on that product. I mean, I don't know. I'm not a quant, but I can be. Hire me. But it's like that product was way worse than the Bowman football. So I think they delayed that Bowman basketball for as long as possible, and then they made like the 2022 and then 2023 releases like super back to back. Where like Clark has like her first Bowman auto, and then like her second year Bowman auto within like 3 months or something like that. It's something crazy.
I don't know about 3 months.
It's
Also,
short.
you're just like winging shit. No way Topps lost money on the first year of Bowman U basketball.
Okay,
They
they
didn't
didn't
even pay
lose
for
money, but
licenses.
that was an awful product.
Yeah, but they didn't pay a
That's
single
me.
license.
Dude, that's one of the worst products ever released by Topps.
Yeah, I'm not saying it's not one of their worst products. There's just no way they lost money on it.
Okay, yeah, okay, cool. They
Remember
made money.
remember when you bought all those boxes of Topps finest basketball?
Yeah, I do. I do remember. But yeah, they put so much little effort into this product, and the print run's probably not the highest either. I mean, when you come to think about it. And then you have Caitlin Clark's first Bowman auto,
Yeah.
and
Well,
that's
moral of the story, I think her first Bowman is the most iconic first Bowman right now for Bowman U.
it's where she will
But
probably be known as the best. I could not tell you where Sue Bird played in the WNBA. I can tell you Sabrina Ionescu plays for the Liberty. I can tell you Kelsey Plum plays for the Las Vegas Aces. But it's
he's
again,
gonna keep naming WNBA players. I'm pretty sure.
I'm just trying to show that I'm in touch, man.
Wasn't Sue Bird in Seattle? The Storm.
I see. I couldn't tell you. Are you just gonna name the
Maybe.
WNBA players?
Dude, I am hyped about Oakland / San Francisco getting a WNBA team soon. I will be. I am hyped about that personally. But Max, can we wrap up sports card yapping? We are. I'm having a blast, but
I
we got
think
to
we
wrap it
yapped
up.
a lot of good points. I think we
I
yapped
think
a lot of.
let's really pat ourselves on the back right now, Max. We did a great job. Good job talking about sports cards. Good podcast. Hard pivot. Max, I'm going to start off sports card buys of the week with 3 cards that I bought in one lot on Twitter. I need you to tell me how much you think I bought these for.
Okay.
We got
Tap on.
2017 Buster Posey Topps Chrome Sepia Refractor, not very rare, not numbered. We got a Kevin Durant 2017-18 Prism Blue Fast
Break
Break
to
out of
150.
175.
Ooh.
This is a nice one. I think no sarcasm at all. First year Fast Break Prism basketball.
Is
And
it
then
Tom Brady jersey number?
it's 45 off Tom Brady jersey number.
Okay.
The last one is a 2008 Topps Chrome Orange Refractor Steve Nash out of 499 color match Suns. I
I'm
got
gonna
these
say you
3
paid
cards in a lot.
$5.
How much?
$5.
$5, bro? What? I'm not out here. I don't commit robbery. I don't commit
I mean,
like
okay, the Posey's a
federal.
dollar card.
Yeah, that's a dollar card. Dude, the
Okay.
Steve Nash?
You,
Steve Nash orange color match Topps
but are
Chrome
there
2008?
but are there that many people like PCing Steve Nash?
Yeah. For a
And
color
you said
match
it's
like this?
499.
Dude, this is sick. I
And
I
then
paid like I paid like $38 for these shipped.
what was the remind me this you paid it had to have mostly been in the Nash, no? The Durant's like $5.
Dude, Durant's like 15.
Durant is 15?
Yeah. You're
I know you're
underestimating.
like from San Francisco. Like no one in the world cares about Kevin Durant.
I probably paid full comps for those though, to be honest.
Yeah, you
So
were saying,
maybe
oh,
not,
that's
I'm not saying that was not like my
you're
best
usually
deal of
like the
all time.
value box fiend, but I forgot you go to a card show like once every 9 months. So my bad.
Well, you
I
can,
was thinking
yeah,
that.
fuck off. Next card, last card I bought. I actually only bought one card on eBay since we last spoke. 2011 Topps Hope Diamond are my favorite, whatever. Yeah. Jason Hayward Gold Cup out of
Ooh, dang.
60. How much do you think I got that for?
15?
$28.77 plus $1 shipping.
That's probably
So like
like
30.
close to what it's worth. I mean, the rookie cup probably bolsters it, and Jason Hayward isn't a bad name from that set. Again, and I guess I have to give it respect. It is hope, but I don't think there's that many hope maniacs. And if there are hope maniacs, they probably already collected a Jason Hayward rookie cup already. So hey, I respect that. Good additions.
Yeah, I'm hyped about that. But the great eBay name on this one, Max. Topps Diamond Anniversary Blue Cognac Gold Cup.
Blue cognac.
Blue
Word.
Cognac. All right, your
All right.
turn. I'm done talking. I'm out.
So Tommy, now I'm going to turn the tables on you. I bought two mojos this week. One of Brandon Podziemski of the Warriors, out of 25 mojo from Prism, both rookies, and one of Jaime Jaquez Jr. of the Miami Heat. Which one do you think, if you can guess what they sold for, I'd be impressed. But which one do you think sold for more and by how much more? If you can get, if you want to guess the prices, you can guess them too.
I'm cheating a little bit because I saw you posted the Derek Lively for 800 on Twitter.
Okay.
So that's my baseline. I think Pod GMT, Dubs fans are hot on him. I'd say that one was 1100. And then the Jaime Jaquez was like 750.
I think your Warriors bias is a little bit strong. The Podziemski sold for 730, and the Jaquez sold for 620.
Okay. So I wasn't far off on
Well, you were
Jaime.
like pretty close. You mean relatively? You were close to spot on the Jaquez. But yeah, I mean, I did have those two cards entirely in mind when trying to price that Lively at 800, um, which is a cool Lively. So I bought those this week. Two other buys. I bought myself two more clear cut Connor Bedard's. I own a total of four. One's at Beckett, one's at PSA, and then two are incoming to me. I bought a Austin Matthews Young Guns silver foil, which I believe are only from the Upper Deck E-Pack. And from my understanding of the McDavid, you have to combine four McDavid base rookies in order to get one foil, and then they ship you that foil. And the pop is like 100 on the McDavids, but I didn't check Beckett's pop. It's a pop 2 at PSA. So if I can gem that, and I think owning the pair would be like very cool and unique. Um, just some general Keontae George prisms, some, I don't know, I bought another Kassan Wallace Gold Shimmer, some Victor Wembanyama number 106 from Court Kings, his level 2 rookie. And yeah, I'm just living life, buying prism. We'll see what's in my hand more in the future, because I always hit these big mail days all at once, and they're always fun to share. But for eBay buys, those are the biggest hits, and I hope those weren't dull hits. I've been growing more and more on the hockey, and that's been independent of Bedard. And part of it is just, hey, it makes money. There are more cards to grade. But on the other end, and again, I view the grading just as an opportunity to own cool cards that I never would have had the opportunity to own. But on the other hand, it's like it is cool seeing hockey and women's basketball and other sports that aren't the traditional big three grow and subsequently have more relevance in the card collecting world. Because just as a quick tandem, like Alexis Lafreniere was supposed to be the Connor Bedard, and he was a rookie back in, I want to say, 2021, and he was so mediocre. He's starting to turn it around now and be like a regular starter of his career, but he was meant to be like the clear-cut number one overall pick and was just kind of mid, as the kids say.
I mean, yeah, any sport you'd have mid first round, like number
Yeah,
one overall
I'm sure you debated about who's better between, Kirill Kaprizov and Alexis Lafreniere during 2021. I'm sure that was at the
pick.
top of your mind.
Yeah, you know that I'm deep in the hockey world, like
Yeah,
just super
now
into it.
this is my iteration of you making fun of me for not knowing fringe rappers.
Is that I know who these guys are. You know that. Anyway, Max, we got to wrap this up. Any last parting thoughts for the people?
I love women's sports.